Hello, and welcome to the Manifesting Book Magic podcast with me, your host, Nicole Perriella-Rehmke. Today, we have a very special guest. I'm so excited to welcome Natascha Graf, also known as Natalia Graf, the CEO and founder of Sync Equestrian, an innovative and luxury apparel line for equestrians, these amazing athletes. And she is passionate about supporting and promoting and celebrating all women's bodies and athletes. So, Natascha, welcome to the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. And I wanted to share with you, we connected online and we connected, I believe, through Chelsea Diane and her poetry classes.
Yes, the GOAT.
Yes. And I would love to hear from you. What has Chelsea done for you in her teaching, and what have you learned from her? I know the Clio class was really big for you, so I'd love to just hear about that.
Yeah, so a friend of mine, Felicity Davies, actually told me about the Clio class like maybe 2 days before and told me about Chelsea Diane and her Instagram. So I started following her while she was in Egypt, and you know how she uploads a lot of like her stories, and I was so drawn to it. And I believe I've had like many lifetimes in the past, like in Egypt in that era. So when I did the Clio class, I mean, it just completely transformed my life in so many different ways of like how I view myself, how I step into the role of a queen, abundance. I mean, my business like tripled after that class. It's insane, I know. And I just kind of changed some like money beliefs and worthiness and like other things that we did in class, and it was like freaking mind-blowing. And even now, like I even have like a little altar for Isis and Cleo, and I wear jewelry, and I really try to channel that within myself, and it's just been like crazy in a good way.
Wow, that's amazing to hear. And that was actually my first class too. I was watching her
Wow.
in Egypt and signed up like an hour before that class. And I was just so excited. And I've been just soaking up her energy, almost like marinating in it. So
Mhm.
let's go back to what you said about your money mentality and worthiness. Talk
Yeah.
to me about that. What has that journey been like for you?
I would say entrepreneurship is like a mirror of like self-work. I'm really grateful that, especially in the business that I'm in e-commerce, so it gives me a lot of free time. And I've always said that my business has been like a tool to help me grow spiritually because of the time and the reflections and everything that I get. I get to like experiment with my manifestations. And so the first year we started, we were really, really successful. And I came into my business really vulnerable, and I had gone through a lot of life changes. So when all of a sudden everything kind of blew up, I got really scared. Especially like I think one month was like a really, really crazy high month. And I was like, oh my God, I made this much money. And it just put me in a scarcity mindset. So then I had a fear of losing my business. So second year of business was really about me working on my money mindset. And I realized how I was like sabotaging myself in the way I thought about money, right? So money is just energy. And once you learn how to play with that energy, it it's like a stream just coming to you, right? So for example, one thing, and I also read Amanda Francis's book. I forgot what it's called, but you know which one I'm talking about because I saw you
Yeah,
read it.
rich as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that book. So that was like one of the things that I started reading when I was like really shifting and stepping into this role of just abundance. So one of the smaller things I used to do is every time I spent money, I used to like cringe a little bit, like, oh, I don't want to spend this, or like, sometimes I have to spend a crazy amount on manufacturing things, and I'd be like, like super scared, on spending that money. But I just changed my mindset to, this money is going to bring more to me, and I'm also helping others. So I tip really well everywhere I go, just because I believe in whatever you put out, you also get back, and you're making a difference in someone else's life. So every time you spend money, change your mindset about it. Like, okay, I'm helping this person. If you're spending money in a business, they're going to feed their families. They're going to do this. They're living in their dream. Or every time you tip someone, or you don't want to tip someone, you get pissed when there's like automatic tip. Think about what you're doing for that person. So once you change that mindset from scarcity to opportunities and connection and just like a positive feel behind it, you attract more and more of it. And when my business really tripled within like a couple months, I didn't really change anything in the business. I mean, I changed a few things as far as like what I was releasing, and I have an operations manager now who's been amazing and everything else, but I just changed the way I thought about money. And I treated myself like Cleopatra. I didn't care. Like if I wanted to go spend money on myself and splurge, I did it without guilt, without hesitation, without fear. I did it so I can nurture the queen inside of me. And the more I did that, the more I saw how much more abundance was coming to me. It's just energy, and we're taught that money is bad. You see it in all the movies, like wealthy people are terrible. They have terrible corporations and stupid things like that brainwash people to keep them small. But that's not true, because when you have wealth and abundance, you can actually make a much bigger impact in the world. So, and even sharing stuff like this is one of them. Like once people understand that it's their mindset that's holding them back from going to the next level, everything starts to shift.
This is really resonating with me. And I think about it a lot with art because I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm producing things. And so recently I was at this art fair and I bought a sweatshirt that was probably more than a sweatshirt needed to be, but it had this custom art on it. And I realized, I said, I want to support artists. I
Yeah.
want artists to be able to make a living doing what they love. And if I want to be an artist and I want people to pay me for my art, I'm also supporting other artists and keeping that energy circulating and moving so that we can all grow and survive and live in this like luxurious, beautiful, artistic way. And so that's really, really speaking to
Yeah.
me.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a transaction, right? And like you said, when there's like a charge of positivity behind you spending money, it comes back to you times tenfold. It's crazy because you're in this flow of receiving. Whereas when you're like, oh, I don't want to spend that, or oh my God, why is this bill so high? Or oh no, we're not going to eat there because that's so expensive. You're literally stopping yourself from receiving because you're putting a negative charge behind money, right? So, and it's
Mhm.
hard. It's really hard because we've been conditioned, like your parents always tell you things like money doesn't grow on trees. And when I hear that phrase, I always say, do not say that around me, because that statement alone is what will hold you back from creating this flow of abundance, right? So it's really hard to go back and question all your beliefs and everything you've been told and everything you hear, watch on TV. But once you do it, you become more and more aware of it, and that's when your whole relationship with money will shift. And especially for women, I think a lot of the times, like, we're told we're not good with finances, right? Like if you look at the world, 90% of financial advisors are men, right? So,
Mhm.
and they tell women like, oh, you're not good with money, or you're irresponsible, or this or that, and this starts growing in the back of your head, and you really start thinking like, hey, I'm really responsible with money, I'm not good with money. And then in return, that's what you're manifesting. So you start creating situations for yourself that only project what you're already thinking, right? So then that's another belief you have to go back. You literally have to question every single belief you have about money and yourself, and then rewrite it, and then become aware of those steps throughout your day as you're dealing with money.
This is so powerful. Okay, so a minute ago you just said, don't say that around me, right? Or you have to like rewrite your beliefs. What type of boundaries have you had to set along the way? Like who has access to you, who you listen to, who you spend time with? What has that been like for you?
Yeah, so that is so important because our brain is like a computer, right? Our subconscious. So you have to be really mindful of who you're surrounding yourself with, what you're watching, what you're listening to. A lot of the times, if you listen to like even music, like if the lyrics are negative, I don't care if it's like a big artist, I really don't give a shit. Like if it's negative, I'm not going to listen to it. So I only listen to uplifting things, because there's also a charge of energy behind music and everything else for the person who created that. So you want to make sure that you're around uplifting things. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't happen all the time. You're going to come across people who are more negative, and that's okay. That's just their journey. There's nothing wrong with people who are more negative, but they're just in a different stage of their journey. So I've just kind of made it my thing to one, charge up my own energy. So for me, that's spending time with horses, being in nature, cleansing my energy, because I do pick up a lot from other people. So every night before I go to sleep, I just call my energy back to me and I release anything that doesn't belong to me. And then two, like if I get around people and I feel like I have to downgrade who I am, because I noticed that's what I was doing. Like I'd be afraid to share my success, or if they asked me how my day is, I'd be like, it was good, and then I'd say something negative so they would feel more comfortable. If I have to do that around somebody, it's an indication that that's friendship or whatever that is not for me, because I can't be my true self. So I surround myself with people who most of the people I'm around share my passion of horses. So we have something so uplifting and positive that we're doing together. Or, my fiance or my partner, like it has to be someone who's empowering me and uplifting me and not putting me down or dimming my light. As soon as I feel like someone is trying to dim my light, I just send them love and I'm out. I don't have time for it,
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes people, and even family, I'm blessed to have a really amazing family, but I know a lot of people have family members that put them down and things like that. And just because it's family doesn't mean you can't separate yourself from it. I'm not saying don't talk to your family, but just protect your energy. If I feel a negative vibe, I literally put a bubble around me. Like, this is not going to penetrate my space. And awareness comes with practice. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight when you're completely aware of like all the energies around you and the people. And, you just have to keep practicing, and it'll grow stronger and stronger and stronger.
That's such good advice, and so hard to do at first.
So hard to do at first. Meditation is what really helped me with the awareness piece. So I noticed once I was meditating every day, I started to catch myself versus just kind of being on autopilot throughout the day. Because we're never really in the moment, if you think about it. We're always trying to get to the next thing. We're always thinking about something. It's really hard to be present. So meditation helped me be more present and also catch myself when I drift into something negative. It helped me realize what I'm feeling. If I'm feeling anger, for example, I release it. I don't hold on to it. Like somebody cuts me off driving or something like that, Instead of getting mad at that person, I'm just like, okay, that person might have something going on that I'm not aware of. Just send them love and let it go. And once you start catching your emotions too, you start clearing them out of your body, because we store a lot of different emotions that have happened to us, like I believe in the past life and this life, and it's just all stored, and it causes disease, cancers, heart disease. A lot of those things come from trapped emotions as well.
I believe that 100%. And I was listening to an interview where you were talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I was like, yes.
He changed my life. No, seriously, like he changed my life. So I have like I lived like 13 different lives in one life right now. So I'm gonna try to keep this short. But I moved here from Germany when I was 12. And then I went to middle school and high school in Northern Virginia, which is where I am right now. Then when I turned 18, I just wanted to leave, and I was always very bold, and I wanted to be in New York City. So I only applied to one college, so my parents couldn't say anything, got accepted, moved to New York, 18 years old, all by myself, didn't know a soul. And I wanted to be a model because I was chasing things that I thought were important, and that goes back to some other traumas that I worked through. But wanted to be a model, went there, modeled for like a couple years, ended up staying for 12 years. Very different lifestyle, but I was really, really empty, really sad. I had a lot eating disorders, never felt whole, never felt enough, just really, really dull. I was put on Adderall to stay skinny, although I was also diagnosed with ADD, but to me, ADD just means you need to learn how to be present, and you can do that through meditation. So all these drugs, crazy, but I can get into that later. Anyway, so then I was put on that. So then I still felt empty, and I said, okay, what is accepted by society? Like, I'm here like modeling, partying all the time in New York, looks so glamorous. I'm sad. Like, maybe I need structure. So overnight, I decided I was going to leave New York after 12 years, and I moved back to the DC area, Northern Virginia area. And then I got a corporate job, which
Mm.
that is what really broke me. So I'm a very free spirited person. Almost like when you see a horse, like I see myself in the horse and like wild and like free, and I hate restrictions. So working this job for a year and a half broke me, but it was also the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm also like just naturally competitive. I always like to give my best. So I was working my ass off at this company doing business to business sales, cold calling clients from 7 to like, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then hitting quotas for these in-person meetings. I was missing a patch of hair. That's how depressed I was. Yeah, every day I would take Adderall just to get me out of bed to go to this job. I would come home, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would have to smoke weed just to go to sleep. So one day I woke up after, I think it was like a year. In 2017 is when I had like my awakening. I was like, what is this? Like, this can't be life. I cannot do this anymore. I'm so miserable. I was real thin, and just when you looked at me, there was no spirit there because the Adderall had completely numbed me out. So I knew the first step to changing things was to get off the Adderall, because when you're on Adderall, it's almost like giving you false dopamine, and you're happy all the time and then you crash. But then when you're happy all the time, you don't really know what you like or dislike, right? It's not your authentic truth. And what you like and dislike is what makes you you, and that's where you find your unique gifts and talents. So I was living with an ex at the time. We had like this beautiful penthouse in DC. And if you would have looked at my life, you'd be like, oh, she has like such a good corporate job and life looks great. I was miserable. So broke up with my ex, showed up at my dad's house. Mind you, I hadn't lived at home since I was 18. And I was like, you need to get me off these pills. So then came my healing journey. It took a whole year for me to like start to feel like myself again. I was super depressed. Didn't care if I woke up or not. Like, it was bad. Like, I hit the dark night of the soul bad. And the thing that saved me was my horse. So I always loved horses. I used to ride horses in Germany, and even when I moved here from Germany, the first thing I did was look for horses. They've always kind of been like my peace. Especially moving to a new country when you don't speak English at 12, it's really difficult. So I found my peace in the horses. So once again, I was going through a really difficult time, and I found this like rehoming facility for thoroughbreds, and I volunteered to, help out in exchange for like leasing a horse and lessons and stuff like that. And the day I got there is the day that my horse got there as well. And I had absolutely no idea I was going to end up buying him months later. It wasn't even on my mind. I was trying to figure out where I was going to move. I was thinking about LA, going back to New York. There's no indication whatsoever buying a horse. So I ended up staying there, and I really bonded with this horse, and he ended up injuring himself because usually these horses get rehomed pretty quickly, but he injured himself. So he ended up staying there a lot longer. And the lady who was running the place noticed that I had grown a bond with him. So she's like, do you want to buy him? And I'm like, I haven't even ridden this horse because he's injured. Like, what do you mean buy him? She's like, well, I'm going to, put him on the market soon. And let me know if you, want to just buy him. So I was like, what the fuck? I don't even have a job. Like, how am I going to pay for this? What am I going to do? That means I'm stuck here, for now at least. So then I said, fuck it. Because a butterfly sat on my hand, and I was like, this is it. I have to buy this horse. Bought the horse, ended up working there to like pay off his, board and care. And he changed my life. Like, I've never felt the power within myself the way I did with my horse. Like, he is the sole reason I have a 7-figure business now, the sole reason that I know my worthiness. I mean, I did the work, but he got me there.
Wow.
Everything is horses for me. I give back a lot to horses. They are more than just a sport to me. I put them higher than us even. I put them on a pedestal. They're just like unicorns, these majestic, healing beings. I mean, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't care if I lived. And my horse transformed me from that to now being a powerful CEO, owning my power and all of that. And like after a year of having him.
Wow.
So
Okay, you've said so many amazing things. I just need to go back to a few of them. So so there were at least two times in your life where from the outside things looked amazing and glamorous and sparkly and pretty, but you're saying the inside they did not feel that way.
oh, the inside was dead. Like just like people would look at me and I look at my pictures from back then even, and I look at my eyes. They're dead. You know, it was crazy because sometimes as humans we do things because we think that's what we're supposed to do because it's accepted by society, but you're killing yourself. And I couldn't take it anymore. It's almost like trying to tame a Mustang, right? I was not tameable. This
And so there's this theme of like wild and free, right? Wild and
Yeah.
free. And so do you believe in signs from the universe then? Like you were
Oh
guided to your
yeah.
horse
Oh,
king?
absolutely. I mean, so I know for a fact my horse was with me throughout many lifetimes, and he is like a teacher to me. Like the fact that we got there the same day, like the way everything panned out, you know. And another thing is, so he was a lot when I first got him, and the lady at my barn didn't even want to deal with him, and she told me to sell him. So I go on vacation. I remember this precisely too. So I leave on vacation and she's like, oh, he's so bad. You need to sell him, blah, 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 blah. He's dangerous. And this day before I left, I had a dream that I sold him and I was sobbing, trying to buy him back. And in the
Mm.
dream, I was told, you never sell this horse no matter what. So when I came back, I told her to kick rocks. And I found another trainer, which is where we still are now. And he's so much happier. He completely transformed as soon as we left. That person's energy was also, I'm not mad at her because she's the reason I have my horse, but I just kind of left that, you know, and things worked out better. And he also guided me there because he was acting out, telling me, we gotta leave, we gotta leave. So as soon as I took him, you know, to the new place, he just completely transformed, both of us transformed. And yeah, so I believe that the universe is guiding us, you know, on a higher path. Sometimes we don't know where it's taking us. I absolutely had no idea I was going to start a clothing line for equestrians. I was so lost. Like, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I quit my job. I was living at home, working at a barn, trying to pay off, you know, my horse. That's the only thing I had was like my horse. Um, I was lucky enough to be able to stay at my parents' house, you know, without having to worry about rent and everything. So I'm really grateful for that. I know a lot of people don't have that option. But it just, yeah, like I figured out everything within a
So
couple months.
let's talk about that. So I feel your passion for your horses and specifically King, and you were living at home and then you started this business. So tell me that story. How did it start? Like where did you get this idea? How did it all come to be?
Yeah, so once I quit that job from hell, I knew that I'm really good at sales. I've always been good at sales. I like to sell things. I'm passionate about it. I had like a bunch of ideas when I was in high school, which I would have been a billionaire now if I would have gone through with one of them because it was clip-in hair extensions, which did not exist back then. And I told my mom and I, let's open a shop. This was before like the internet had like e-commerce stores and everything. Anyway, so I always loved products. I've always been drawn to advertisements since I was a little kid. I would always ask my parents questions like, well, how did they know to say that to make me want to buy it? So I was really interested in the human psychology part of advertisement. So when I first started my company, it was a digital marketing agency because my old job was business to business sales, you know, handling clients and things like that. So I was trying to stay in that same lane a little bit. And I started this company. I was really good at sales. I wasn't so good at the Facebook analytic ad marketing piece, which now I outsource all of that stuff, but I learned a lot. So after doing that for like 6 months, I realized I didn't like it at all because I was still dealing with clients and I didn't have free time. And I didn't want to have a job where I had to work a lot of hours to make money. I wanted to create a system that's smarter. So once I understood how digital marketing works, you know, all the different ad pieces and managing all these clients, I saw there was a gap in the market for equestrian clothing. because I was riding my horse and stuff, and I hated all of the clothes I was buying. And actually, two people said something to me, and I was already thinking this, right? So one person said to me, "Oh, you should start an equestrian like clothing line. Like your clothes are always so cute, like the way you style them. You should create your own." And then I was out to brunch with another friend, and she was like, "You should create your own equestrian clothing line." And I'm like, this is a sign. I've already been thinking about this. So that's a sign from the universe. I always believe if you're thinking about something, and especially if other people are now bringing that up to you, the universe is like, act on it. Like you have the inspiration, act on it. So then I started small. I was really scared, still vulnerable, very like insecure, wasn't confident. Just because coming off like my whole life was stripped away from me. And I was almost reborn like a child learning how to walk again in this new vibration, but scared, very scared. So I started with 3 samples of breeches. And my dad was the one who kept pushing me. He was like, "Stop being scared. Just do it. Just do it." And I was like, "But what if it doesn't sell?" And he's like, "Well, if it doesn't sell, then you lost a little bit of money. So what? Go to the next thing, So I started with 3 breeches, and it just took off. And I was like, "We're sold out." Like I couldn't even believe it, And I met the right people along the way as far as partnerships of like what I outsource. And the business just grew from there. But it was all about taking that first step and not being scared. But I've even first year business to like now in our 3rd year as a person, I've grown so much. Like I used to be afraid to even tell people I was the owner of the company because I didn't want to get judged by our customers, and like I would try to hide behind the scenes. And this is all 1st and 2nd year. And like now I'm in 3rd year. I'm like, "Hey, I am the CEO. If you've got a problem, if I'm triggering you, it's within yourself, okay? Not within me." So yeah.
Wow. Well, and I was looking at a lot of your clothes and they're so cute. I don't even ride horses. And I'm like, I need these pants.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to create a product that's not, I think of it as engineering too. Like I hit a lot of problems and we come out with like new inventions of like liquid proof stuff and like white stuff that's like lined black on the inside. So it's not see-through, because for competition, like you have to wear white. And another thing that was really important to me, because I was a model and I did go through like years and years and years of eating disorders, was to really empower all bodies. So we use different bodies in our advertisement, also different ages. I think there's a lot put on women as far as aging too. So it's been really important to me to showcase everyone. And not just have like a prototype of like, hey, this is what a writer looks like. Because women, we're also different, and I want everyone to see themselves in our ads, to know that they are powerful and, they can achieve whatever they want. And I almost look at it like there's a little bit of magic woven into our fabric, because that message comes across. I literally feel like if you put on our clothing, you feel that empowerment and that confidence that I'm trying to put in, almost like a magic blanket on like anyone who puts on our clothing.
Wow. So there's an energy behind it that you're
Absolutely.
an intention that you're putting into the clothes.
Absolutely. Yeah, from day one. So that's been, I think people feel that, when they, the countless emails I've gotten too, it's all about, I feel so confident and feel so powerful when I wear sync, so it's coming across without even having to say it. But that's the intention I put in every single design, every piece, that we package out. That energy is in there. And I do believe that it spreads. And only those who are ready for that kind of power, only those who are ready to step up, are the ones who end up purchasing from us.
Well, and I can feel that from you. I can feel it now, but I can also feel it come through on your Instagram and your stories. Like it became clear to me. I was like, I'm aligned with her. There's something about her that's
Uh,
speaking to me. And
yeah.
I felt like you were also so approachable, and just that mindset piece. Like I can feel it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, what other things in your life are you manifesting right now?
Well, I think I manifested love. So I don't manifest like most people with like visuals. Most of the time, I don't really know what I want. I mean, I'm really content with my life, so I'm like, I don't really know what I want. I don't sit there and sometimes I do, like if I want to hit certain numbers, for the day, I'm like, today my intention is to hit such and such for the day. So I'll do that. But I manifest through being, right? So for example, with the whole abundance piece, I treated myself abundantly, right? I take myself out on a date, for example. I splurge on myself. That's how I manifest. Now I'm going to manifest abundance. I put on nice clothes, even if I'm going down the street to like, I don't know, like something that's not like really nice. I still do it for me. I put lotion on my body. I moisturize my face. I treat myself with care and respect. And when I'm in that alignment of being in this magnetic phase of how I treat myself and how I view myself, that's how I manifest. And I manifest things that are for my highest self without really knowing what I'm trying to manifest. I don't know if that's making sense. It's like a little bit different than how most people manifest, but it's by just being in my highest alignment.
It sounds like you're really open to whatever the universe is going to bring you.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't have like specific. I did when I first started my company. I was very visual and things like that. But like now I'm just in a space of, for one, I take inspired action. I don't force action, even with my business. I mean, I work like a couple hours a week, right? But when I do, it's inspired action. It's not forced action coming out of scarcity and fear. Like, sales were down today. I got to do this. I got to do this. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We're going to sink. I wait. I'm calm because sales always come back up, right? So if there's a bad day, I'll wait for an inspired call to action. And that's what I do. And it usually brings back whatever we lost because it's not coming from a scarcity place. It's coming from whatever I'm downloading.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that. And I think that's going to be so powerful for our listeners to hear that you don't have to hustle and work 40, 50, 60 hours a week to be successful, to have an amazing company like you
Yeah.
do. That's a
Yeah.
great role
I'm
model.
not saying you don't have to work. Like you still have to work. For example, like, but it doesn't feel like it, right? So you don't have to hustle. I 100% agree. That hustle mentality is so outdated. And like, you're not going to go where you want to go if you're working 60 hours a week with resistance and hustling and you're tired and you're depleted. You're not going to manifest anything. You can't because your energy is so down, right? So, like, for example, when we have a new release, I'm in it. Like, I'm in the zone. I love advertisement and I love marketing. And we have different, writers that I shoot. I go meet with them. We're doing photo shoots, we're doing video shoots. I'm in the zone when we have new releases. And sometimes those days I work, but it doesn't feel like work because I'm so in alignment and I'm loving every piece of it that I'm just pushing for that release. And then I'm like sailing again. And I chill and I go ride and I meditate and I'm back to, oneness. And that's how like my company has grown, what has worked for me. Now there's some people who want to do more of that or who wear more hats. I've also learned to outsource a lot of the things that I'm not good at. Like I don't even try to waste my time to learn it. Like what's the point? I'm just going to hire somebody who's been doing this for a long time, who loves to do it. Everybody I hire is passionate about what they do. I don't hire people who are like, I don't like what I'm doing, and because it's energy too. And usually I contract people versus pay employees because contracted people also own their own business and they're passionate about it and they want to make sure that you have customer satisfaction. So yeah, that's how I've been kind of just floating with the business.
That's so inspiring. I love hearing this side of things, kind of some behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so in our world here at Manifesting Book Magic, we talk a lot about language. I'm also a multilingual language teacher, and you mentioned that you came here when you were 12 and you didn't speak much English. What advice do you have for the teachers out there that are encountering students that are just emerging, just beginning with English? Like, tell us about that piece.
I think try to teach in different ways. I think the school system is like very like linear. Like everyone has their own talents. For example, I was never good at, if you want to be good at something, you're going to be good at it. I didn't care about taking tests and like doing all of these things. So it's like find an outlet for each child and cater to that, because everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. So especially with language. So if like somebody's learning better with pictures versus reading, keep it more artsy. If someone is more into books or whatever, keep it more into literature. So find an outlet for each child versus making a syllabus for every single child, because we're all so different.
Probably if a teacher had brought some horse-related things to
I
you,
know.
you would have been all over it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved witch books back then too. I was all about the witchy books. So yeah, find what they're passionate about and try to teach them through that. Absolutely.
Well, I just appreciate having you here so much. And where can people find you or connect with you if they want to learn more?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Natalia or Natascha. And the brand account is Sync, SYNC Equestrian, at Sync Equestrian. Or check out the website, syncequestrian.com.
Great. And we'll put those in the show notes as well so everyone can find you. Do you
Yeah.
have any last thoughts or any last words of wisdom for us before we end?
Just follow your, intuition and your calling. I think we suppress a lot of that. And we doubt ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. So trust yourself more and feel your own power, Stop doing things you don't want to do.
I love that advice. Well, thank you again so much, and we
Thank
will
you.
catch you very soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, bye.
Is that good?